Useless is not a difficult word, but it's worthwhile sometimes to check a dictionary, even for the most common ones.
The Sydney Sleeper is an unlockable primary weapon for the sniper class that allows you to play a more supportive role in your team by giving the ability to mini-crit enemies instead of relying entirely on solo damage. The weapon trades the ability to headshot for a faster charge rate and the ability to coat enemies in Girardi for 2 to 8 seconds. Anytime you headshot or body shot with a full charge, surrounding enemies will also be covered in Girardi, meaning it's great for stopping pushes and almost guaranteed to win you any team fight, but only if the rest of your team is involved. If it isn't already apparent from the fact that I made this video, I actually really like this weapon. To me, it's always a fun side grade that changes the way you play Sniper into a slightly more relaxed game instead of a high stakes game where missing a headshot could ruin everything. But I was sad to find out that for some reason, not very many people are using this item. In fact, it's the least equipped primary for Sniper. Like seriously, a larger percent of TF2 players equip the upper hand, and only 27% of players even own it. So why don't people like to use this item? Oh yeah, that's why. When you're playing Sniper, a lot of people really don't seem to like it when you kill them with a body shot instead of a headshot, because for some reason it feels like the kill was unfair. So when you take the headshot function away and center the weapon completely around body shots, you create a weapon that people seem to think is overpowered, even though no one uses it? The TF team did try to amend this by providing an incentive for hitting headshots with the Girardi explosion, but even if you don't hit headshots, the weapon will still be just as effective. With the sniper rifle, you are rewarded for hitting headshots with a higher amount of damage, giving people an incentive to take more difficult shots and aim for the head. With the Sydney Sleeper, your only reward is an effect that is generally not useful because in TF2 players are not usually close enough for the Girardi explosion to even matter. Additionally, you can still get the Girardi explosion effect from fully charged body shots. Pair this with the fact that the Sydney Sleeper has a 25% faster charge rate and you have a weapon that's basically built around body shots. I can't prove it, but to me, this is the main reason why people don't want to use the Sydney Sleeper. So does that mean it's a bad weapon? In no way is it a bad weapon. The ability to force enemies to take mini-crits, even for just 2 seconds, is an extremely powerful tool. In many situations, you'll be hitting enemies that are already in combat, so the fact that they are suddenly taking mini-crits is basically a death sentence. It's true that a headshot can do more damage than an uncharged body shot and a mini-crit from many weapons, but landing headshots for many people is very inconsistent. Using the Sydney Sleeper is a much more reliable way to ensure that if you can't get the kill, someone on your team will at least have the advantage. This is what I think people don't get about the Sydney Sleeper. They expect to be able to play the game the same way just because it's the same character. But when you're using the Sydney Sleeper, you can't be the aggressive, flick shot master you are with the regular sniper rifle. The only way the weapon will work is if you hang back and make sure you're giving support to your team, not actually securing any kills yourself. I think of it kind of like the Spy. Sure, you could charge into enemies and get a backstab out of combat, but chances are you're not going to last much longer than that. The best strategy is to wait until enemies are engaged and fighting before attacking so you can let them focus on other enemies while you essentially debuff them and give your teammates the upper hand. After all that though, I feel like there was one thing I'm forgetting about this weapon. Oh. Right. Counter-sniping with this weapon is basically pointless. Unless you can catch your enemy off guard with a fully charged shot, or hope that the flinch from your shot will throw them off, there isn't really a point because you will probably lose every time. This ruins any hope the item has of being used in competitive play, if it had any at all, because it defeats the point of having a sniper in the first place. If a sniper is on one team, the other team will usually run him in fear of being at least one pick down in every team fight. Using the Sydney Sleeper essentially ruins your chance at taking out the enemy sniper because you just won't be able to do enough damage. When all is said and done though, the Sydney Sleeper is not a bad weapon. It's just a weapon people are afraid to pick up because of the different playstyle it forces you to adopt. The Sydney Sleeper sniper is much less aggressive and more focused on providing a buff to his team than to crippling an essential part of the other. It may seem like it is much less skill-based than the other sniper rifles, which it is to an extent, but at the end of the day you're still using a weapon that is very hit or miss. It isn't really a question of which sniper rifle is better, but more just a question of how you want to play the character. Which, most of the time, is just with the default sniper rifle.